Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of If It Be Your Will podcast. Coming to you today, I am just reaching out to Midwest. It's probably 500-600 kilometers from where I am, but it feels a short jaunt over to Cincinnati. I have Sungaze here, the co-creators of the band, Ivory and Ian, who are a married couple, which we're going to find out a little bit more about that because that's very interesting. I've had interviews with many married band couples, and it's always a blast. So, and one other mention is that they do have a record coming out this month, May 22nd. I Am No Longer Afraid of Heights. So check it out. And I'll just give a little wash of what the genre that I think that you guys really connect with. Definitely dreamy, definitely shoegazy. There's definitely Midwest tension, emo in there a little bit. And I was going to say haze, but I really kind of feel this latest record, guys, is that haze is being lifted a little bit more. And it's much clearer and, gets at you more directly. And we'll talk about that as well. But before we get into all that fun album stuff, Ivory, where did this music thing start for you? What are some salient moments that you remember where music was something foundational in the direction you wanted to go in life?
There were a lot. So growing up, my dad was in a band in Cincinnati. It was like a cover band, Southern rock kind of deal. They had a few originals, but I grew up watching his band practices in our basement, just like, from the basic steps, basically. And just like, I want to be like my dad when I... And he was a singer also, played a little bit of guitar. So really, I think that's kind of where it started. And I kind of grew up just listening to everything that they were covering, everything that he was listening to. And then when I got a little older and started making my own musical discoveries, I was obsessed with Avril Lavigne. Her first album, Let Go, came out when I was in first grade or something. And I begged my mom to get me the CD because it had the parental warning on it. And so I would just ride to the bus every day, just blaring that in my little CD Walkman thing. But I was just this is what I want to do when I get older.
Yeah. What was it about being in front of people singing? What was it that attracted you to that idea or that notion?
So it's funny because that's actually the part that I was least excited about. I just wanted to, I always loved to sing and I wanted to be a songwriter. And I knew that performing would probably be a part of that. So I've kind of had to learn how to rise to the occasion. I think as a kid, I was a little bit more of a comfortable in the spotlight kind of a person. But as I got a little bit older, definitely had some stage fright issues. And it's been a journey.
Right. Yes, absolutely. I'm always fascinated with that idea of having I don't know if it's courage or something that makes certain people want to go up there and here's my heart, a little bit of opening up journals and here is a song I came up with. And it takes a certain person to be able to do that. And I imagine practice at the same time of just trying it over and over and over again.
For sure.
Yeah. Ian, I read that you were a metalhead.
Yes.
And the evolution of that is quite striking from metalhead to dream. What were your influences growing up and how did the journey start and how did it kind of bring you to where you are here today?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so a fast recap would be growing up, truly my parents listened to everything. They were 80s, music people. And even 90s grunge and all of that. But when I was learning guitar in high school, I started to just find heavier and heavier music that challenged me on the guitar. And then also just my friends in high school, we all just kind of started, going towards just the insane death metal as fast as you can play type of stuff, And so, yeah, I was definitely fascinated with that in a lot of different ways. And that definitely consumed most of my music listening for many years. But then with that type of music comes a certain aggression that I started to just not vibe with as much anymore. And then obviously I had other friends that enjoyed different kinds of music. So when they would show me something way off the beaten path of metal, like I remember hearing the artist Grimes, like her first couple albums and being like, what is this? Like really, this is somewhat so just, finding specifically the bands Tame Impala and Washed Out were two that were like, I love this music. It's so different from what I've listened to, but this is kind of how I feel more than in that metal kind of aggressive energy. So, yeah. So basically, there was just kind of a internal emotional journey through music that led me to where we are now.
Yeah. And in what's the shift? Like you said, like metal is like you go at it as hard as you can, as fast as you can. Yeah. And it seems like you flip that and like, I'm going to restrain now and every note is going to mean something. Like, how do you go from thrashing and like just rawr, to like how did that journey happen for you?
Yeah. Well, so really, I realized as I wanted to be, like, I stopped caring about being like the best guitar player in the entire world. And I focused on songwriting. And what I learned from songwriting, like the good songs that like are timeless and etc., is exactly what you just said. It's the restraint. It's the notes that you don't play and the pulling back at times. And so I think that just combined with like the sort of sounds that I like kind of led me to making that kind of music. But like, I appreciate that you say that, like, when you hear us, like every note means something, because I do, we both strive for that, to make everything purposeful and not just the athleticism aspect, the restraint. So,
right. Do you ever miss that though? Just like going for it, like watch out, crank that sucker, let's go. Like, does that ever happen in any of the songs that Sungaze might, contemplate and putting on a record?
I think the world sees maybe 5% of like the riff and things that I come up with. And I have some like nasty things that like, I'll try to put out. And most of the time it just doesn't work out. Not that I'm trying to push it in that direction, because I'm just kind of letting whatever everybody enjoys be there. But I still enjoy that, just some of maybe the heavy feeling, without the speed or whatever that.
Right. I love it. And Ivory, tell us a little bit about how you guys came to know one another. And yeah, let's start there. Like, because you guys eventually married and now are in a band together. Like, how did this whole relationship begin?
Yeah, so it's hard to like sum it all up quickly. Basically, I will say like our time when we officially met was at my going away party before I moved to North Carolina. I had lived in Ohio for most of my life, went to Chicago briefly for school, came back a couple months later. And then like a year after that, I was like, all right, this isn't working out. Time to go somewhere else, do something different. I was 19. And yeah, we had a going away party. And then Ian showed up and we talked like probably for like 5 hours straight, just like at this kitchen table, like, and then we ended up hanging out the night before I moved. So I like woke up at his house and then drove away out of state. And as we were as I was driving away, I was like, I feel like I'm making a mistake. Like I don't know, this feels important. So he ended up coming down to visit me. And then like a month later, I moved back up here and we got a place together. And our families were like, you guys are nuts. It worked out. So
right. But something was there that you knew you had to like seize or forever regret or whatever might have, forget about those possibilities. It ignited something.
Exactly.
Love it. And how did then, so the relationship was there. How did you and Ivory start to collide musically, I guess, or start, all right, let's try to create stuff together.
Right. Yeah. So that happened a number of years after we were already together. So I had kind of tying into like the musical, like the metal music journey. I was in like a metal band for a while. It was funny because the other guys were her high school friends. So she was well acquainted and already kind of part of that friend group. So I did that for a while. And as I left that band to make I shamelessly say a Tame Impala knockoff band, because that's where we were. That was going on for a while. And I was like, Ivory, would you be interested in playing keys? And she was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I kind of taught her the parts and etc. After some time, we played a few shows where she was just playing keys. And after a few of those, meanwhile, I had always been writing more songs at our house that we had at the time. And one day she was like, oh, I like this bit of writing that you've done. Can I sing on it? And that really was like the turning point of being like, oh man, she's such a better singer than me. So that moment there kind of changed the trajectory. Yeah. So it was for moving towards Ivory singing at least half of a song, meanwhile playing keys. And then basically throughout the albums was like, I don't really love playing keys. I'd rather just be a singer. And so we just kind of accommodated that throughout our record. So that's, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Ian, like, actually, I'm going to ask Ivory this question. Ivory, what was it about Ian's music that connected with you to the point where you're like, my voice belongs in these songs? Or maybe not belongs too big of a word, but that I hear what I can do inside this music that you're creating. Like, how did that, like, did you identify with what Ian was creating at the time, even though he was your husband and everything? You got to support him no matter what, right? Like, how, like, did you feel like soonish after you started finding yourself in that music?
Let's see. I think so. The song that I did vocals on was probably a year or so into like playing keys, Sungaze, and I think that song specifically, like, it was a little bit slower, a little bit moodier, and it just had like, I just really liked the chords. Honestly, just, I don't know, had this very pretty, like, kind of moody quality to it. And I had like a little line that came to me in my head, and I was like, I wonder what that would sound like. So let's go for that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And Ivory, were you also at the same time, like, were you writing songs, or like from your past, what you were describing is that it was really important music in your life. Were you doing individual things while Ian was thrashing out, and like, or was the keys the first kind of your entry point into being in a band?
That was my entry point, actually. So like, I had always wanted to do music when I was younger. And then when I hit like my teen years, I would still kind of sing, alone when no one was home or whatever, just became very shy about it. And I was like, well, I don't know. I can just appreciate that other people are doing that. And like, maybe that's just like not for me this time. And so I kind of had given up on that dream, and then met Ian, was very supportive of his band and stuff, and then was happy to join on keys. And then I think for the first like few years of doing Sungaze, I honestly was just kind of like, I don't know, or just kind of like, it's fun, it's whatever. I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but it's fine. And then things, I would say around like 2017, 2018 really shifted again. And I was like, wait, no, this is what I want to do. And like, I can do it. And so that's when things kind of started to change a little bit. And then I started to have more of a role in songwriting. Like, we started kind of collaborating on things. Like, Ian would come up with the riffs and most of it. And then I'd be like, what if we like change the structure here, or like added in something that kind of felt this way here? So that's kind of how that process began. And then our second album was, a lot of it I wrote from guitar, because Ian built me one for my 26th birthday, actually. Yeah. And he taught me.
Good guy. That's amazing.
That's a birthday gift ever. But he just taught me some of the simple, like, we call them campfire chords. And so I just kind of like spent most of the pandemic like just playing that in our room, and then brought the songs to Ian, and then he fleshed them out into what they are now.
Okay. So the ideas would come through Ivory, and then Ian, you would take those ideas and adapt them to the style of Sungaze? Like, how did you guys get to the style that you wanted to, like, with Sungaze? I mentioned before we hopped on here that I feel like this album coming out this month has this, you can feel the journey that you guys have been through. You know, like it's mature. It has an intent behind it all the time. How did that style come to you guys? Like, did it take some time to kind of feel it out, and maybe we should go a little more this way or that way?
Yeah.
Fill those gaps in a bit.
Yeah. So definitely by the time anyway, we were recording songs that would go on our first album back in 2019. I would say like it would be like musical influences shaped the kind of like sounds that I enjoyed, like specifically like the guitar pedals and things like that I would use. But yeah, like things like delay and reverb and kind of the mixing styles of specifically one band that we always really liked is one of the shoegaze greats, Slowdive. I think also it was definitely a thing where we tried to like, you know, go after those original shoegaze sounds, but then didn't end up as close as we thought just because we were like relatively new at it, you know. So some of that was maybe, like you said, like this album feels like it has intent because now we're finally like, okay, I know how to shape things the way I want. But I think early on it was kind of like, this sounds good. Okay. Right. Kind of as simple as that. Yeah.
I love the Slowdive reference too, because I think of Mojave, like, second iteration where the lead vote, well, it was more of a female, you know, like, she was singing much more in that. But it had that sheen to it, like you guys have as well, where the instruments tended to be pretty clear, and it wasn't just a wash, you know, like you could pick out individual instrumentation that was going on. From your first record to the one that's coming out in May, how do you guys divide how the band is shaped? Is this a dialogue that you guys continuously have with one another, or does the band also get into this conversation? And what songs? Maybe I'll let you answer that question first, and then I'll have a follow-up for it. Ivory, why don't you hop onto that one if you can? Like, what's the work interrelations that happen within Sungaze?
Yeah, so it's mainly me and Ian that write everything, and then we take it to our people and force them to learn it. It's a lot nicer than that, but we've explored since this new record with potentially writing together, and we've had a few like jam writing days. So that might be something that changes in the future, but it's mostly, just been me and Ian, either like, not so much these days, like for the second album and part of the third, I was writing a lot of things on guitar, and then I would kind of take it to Ian, and then we would kind of like go back and forth that way. But now the most common thing that happens is Ian will have like a cool riff or a chord progression, and then I'll be like, yes, I like that. And then come up with like a little vocal thing. We'll structure it out together. Ian records all of the instruments at our band space. And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
Sorry, you go.
No, I just wanted to say, so you do a lot of the stuff around the production of it as well, not just the actual, like, okay, like, are you doing the recording and you take care of a lot of those elements as well?
Yeah. It's definitely been a thing where we've talked about other options, but the thing that just keeps being the easiest, and fortunately I'm getting better at all the time, is like the recording and production side of things. But kind of touching on another part of your question as far as like deciding the direction, like from the first album to now, is like, honestly, mostly it's just Ivory and I, like, we'll show each other bands and, you know, we'll listen to music in the car. So we definitely always share kind of like a mutual headspace about like what styles and what things we want to include in our next recordings and things. So it's nice because we both can be like, I like these elements and I like these elements, or like we're both like, I kind of want to shift this way, and then we just kind of can. But it's pretty consensual as far as deciding on the direction.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah, and I think like when we had first started with like our first album, I knew that like I was excited to be putting out that album, but I knew that it wasn't like the final sound, and I just didn't know exactly like what that final sound was going to be, just that it was going to like come to us eventually, but that there's, steps you have to take to get there. So it was just kind of like this not yet but later kind of vibe, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, totally. And Ivory, what does Ian bring to Sungaze that you love?
I mean, it wouldn't exist without him. Like, I love his guitar playing. I feel like there's certain people who just like speak through their instrument. And I feel like he does that, like all of his solos and things like that. It's just very, I don't know, there's like a lot of like emotion behind them and a lot of depth. And I really love that. He's also really creative with like always wanting to try different tunings and just keeping things very fresh and like energetic.
Amazing. Ian, what about Ivory? What does she bring to the mix of Sungaze that is just like, we need you. This is you. This is if we didn't have you, it would be like losing an arm or a leg or something.
Yeah, it is very much like that. I would say the main points would be how, like, I'll have a song or something like that, and Ivory's just always just knows kind of, the structure and like where it needs to go, and is just very much a good guide for the direction of each song. And sometimes, I'll get lost in the sauce, so to speak, after recording and all of that stuff. And it's like, I need the like clarity and like the brain power to guide, and we've had, I'll keep it short but sweet, but like we'll have like version whatever, up to 5 or 6 of a song structure, just to get to where it's like, okay, now it's a song, so that. And then definitely another thing would be like just thinking of a lot of musical things that I haven't or wouldn't think of, like either vocal line choices or just little things to do in places like that, just definitely being the salt bay, sprinkling on the like, things that it needs. Yeah,
totally. I love that too. Like, it sounds like such a mutual like partnership, in music and beyond. I mean, we haven't even talked about your marriage. We won't. We'll keep it to music. But I mean, it's that whole other, I love what you said too, Ian, that because you're doing it all too, right? You're playing, you're recording, you're like, the sound, it can get muddy after a while, like where the line between producing and being a part of the musician, the playing of, and that she can bring that clarity of like when the mud starts getting a little bit too thick. Of finding that the line through the mud, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Just being able to cut it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I guess my final question here, guys, again, thanks so much. This has been such a great chat. I love when I have two and married couples, another big love. So this is like a doubler. What holds in your future here for 2026? The record comes out here in May. What does the rest of this year look like for you guys? What's on the plate?
Yeah, so we've got a tour in June that we're doing. We're going up to the Northeast, going to hit New York and Boston for the first time. Been to New York before, but excited to see Boston and some other places. And then there's some things that we're probably not allowed to mention yet.
Don't mention anything you're not allowed to, please.
Yeah.
Trouble, but
some things in the fall that are planned. So
cool. And the writing is ongoing, Ian? Like, I imagine, you can't stop yourself from creating.
Yeah, I definitely, there's like, I'll have little ups and downs, but it's like, yeah, I'm always trying to cook up something. So that's always in progress. And, and I would never be as prophetic as like King Gizzard writing 5 albums 1 year, but I try to write as much as I possibly can. So
absolutely. I love that. And sorry, this is the last question. If you guys can like look down the road, what do you hope people get from this record? Like, you spend so much time, blood, sweat, and tears, into this. You're all in on this. What are you hoping that gets across when this album finally hits the ether of our ears?
Honestly, that you probably only live once. So if there's something you want to do, you should do it.
Bang.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Say no more. Yeah.
Perfect, Ivory. I love that. Well, guys, I wish you all the best with this new record. I'm No Longer Afraid of Heights, coming out May 22nd. So a couple weeks. I hope the launch goes well and the release. I've been loving it. I encourage listeners out there, if you can go and catch Sungaze play live. I just imagine your show is crazy good. Like that's spiritual in ways, where you just kind of like some concerts, you just feel like you're in touch with something beyond skin and bones. So go check it out if you get the opportunity. Go say hi to these guys. Say, hey, great song. I love that song. Loved how you played that. And then buy a t-shirt and an LP from them as well. Sungaze, thanks so much for taking some time. You're on my radar, so I'll be following you closely. Keep doing what you're doing. It's just sensational.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.